and welcome back to another video. As you can see, today I'm over on my allotment and I've just got a list of jobs a mile long that I've got to do today. First of all, I've got to do some watering because I haven't been over for a couple of days now, but looking round, everything seems to be still alive. There's nothing wilting, so I'll get on with doing a bit of watering. I've got some leeks to plant out. I've got a couple of beds to refresh. I've got some onions to take home, and I've also got some flowers to pick, some tomatoes to pick, and some green beans to pick. So a lot to do, so let's get on with it. So the first job on my list, which I didn't mention in my introduction, was to empty the wheelbarrow. Now I've got the leeks and the compost, they're all over in my car, and I need the wheelbarrow to take, well, bring the stuff back to the allotment. I can't do that, it's full of old weeds and rubbish like that. Smelly bits. So let's have a look and see how the onions are getting on, which range in size from, this is the largest, which I'm really quite pleased with. Now they're sort of grapefruit size, and then we have quite a few of these smaller ones, which is, I don't know, bigger than a golf ball but not quite as big as a tennis ball, and then we have some little small ones. Now what I think I've done is, when I planted the onion plants out in the spring, I planted too many rows across the bed, because what I noticed was all the larger onions were around the sides and the smaller ones were in the middle, and obviously the ones on the outside had taken all the goodness out of the soil, and the small ones in the middle, they suffered a little bit. So next year when I plant the seeds, and then I plant the small onion plants out into the garden. I'll just put 3 rows instead of 5. I've also had a very good crop of peppers. I don't think I've grown quite so many peppers as this, but these ones here in this hoop house, what I did was I started those off as small plants underneath the polythene, and we have some very strange seagulls over here in Weymouth, and what they tend to do is to sit on top of the polythene hoop house and just peck away and put little holes into the top of the hoop house. So here we are with the peppers. I'm really pleased with the 2 varieties that I planted this year. One was called Great Stuff F1, and these are the peppers here, these red ones, and the more pointy ones down there. And then the other ones are just the commoner garden sweet bell peppers. And again, here we've got one in there. And I've had a really good crop of peppers this year. Really pleased with them. So why do seagulls peck through your polythene on your greenhouse and your hoop house? Well, there are 2 theories really. The first one is that seagulls may see insects or spiders or flies inside the hoop house, and they're pecking away to try and get at them for an easy meal. And the second theory is that they may see a reflection of themselves in the hoop house, and they just peck away trying to ward off any competition. Either way, I know that seagulls are not the smartest birds knocking around, but we do have quite a few problems with them here on this particular allotment. Over in the corner, one of my neighbours has a larger greenhouse, and I've seen anything up to 4 or 5 seagulls just sitting on top of his greenhouse, just pecking away for ages and ages and ages. And you can go and scare them off, but they just come back again, and they're a real nuisance. So that's why I've taken the polythene off this hoop house and that one there. The one at the bottom, the one down the bottom of the garden, is not too bad, and I've noticed that is it's an opaque one with cotton running through it, so perhaps that doesn't give quite the reflection. And at the moment I don't have anything in that hoop house, so there probably isn't any insects for them to try and get at. So what I'm going to have to do with this one is re-polythene it, and then try and put some sort of protection over the top of the hoop house to stop the seagulls. Anyway, it's just one of the hazards of living by the seaside, I'm afraid. So jobs completed so far then is I've weeded the French bean bed. I've also weeded the sweet peppers, 2 beds of those, and I watered sweet peppers and the French climbing beans. What else have I done? I've also watered the courgettes, the chard, and the beetroot that's in the bed just behind me. So now, before I start doing the nice easy stuff, which is the picking of the vegetables and the flowers, what I'm now going to do is plant out some leeks. Now these leeks have been in this tray for far too long now, but as I've said to you before on other videos, I am sort of really confined for space on this small allotment, so I have to keep sort of waiting for things to come out, and I waited for the new potatoes to come out. So I've got courgettes, beetroot and chard in the bed behind me, and I do now have some space for some leeks. These are the leeks that I've teased out of the tray, and as you can see the roots are quite long, so I might have to just go through with the secateurs and just trim off a few of those roots, and then I will make a hole and get them planted. I'll continue along with that process of making holes, putting leeks into them. You don't actually fill the hole with soil, you just pour water into the hole, and then the soil just slowly sort of backfills into the hole. Well, the French climbing beans have been really good this year. I've had lots and lots of beans off them, and I can see that there are still some quite low down, and there is quite a few towards the top. Now, I did notice on the last lot of beans that I collected, I noticed that one or two of them were just beginning to get a little bit sort of stringy, and so what I'm going to do with these, I'm going to pick them and I'll just do a bit of a test cook. I'll put one into a pan and cook it up, and then if that's okay, well then I'll put the rest in. Right, down here I've now got some dwarf French beans. So as the French climbing beans over on the other side of the garden are beginning to sort of come to an end, as you can see with these beans here, we're getting lots and lots of nice little fine beans coming through. This is the charred and the late beetroot that I put in. They've all doing really well. And there's a few rows of leeks over there. I put the leeks in quite late. Again, the tomatoes, loads and loads of tomatoes. It's been a really good year this year for outdoor tomatoes. These are absolutely brilliant tomatoes. They're doing 10 times better out on the allotment than the ones I've got in the greenhouse. The ones in the greenhouse have more or less come to an end now, but these are they're still climbing, and they're still putting out tomatoes right to the very top, so I'm pleased with those. Well, that's it then for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you'd like to see more similar content, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell, and I'll let you know when the next video comes out. In the meantime, I'm going to pick the last of these French climbing beans. I'm going to take them home and then I'm going to see if they're worth eating. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.